So 2 years ago, some of you may remember who were at the Engage conference in this very room, in this very hotel, GE very, very generously shared its gold standard marketing excellence program with the BMA. And that was in a talk, it was in a larger, more comprehensive talk by the CMO at GE, Beth Comstock. Well, the company's transformational journey continues with the launch of 2 new initiatives. One is GE Works, and another one, which is a metric called Differential Value Proposition, or DVP, which is designed to unlock more growth through a heightened focus on delivering on customer promises and helping customers make more money doing business with GE. So in a talk that's titled, Are Your Customers Making More Money Doing Business With You?, our next speaker will describe the purpose of GE Works and share GE's early work with DVP, this practical new platform for working and winning with customers. So please help me give a warm welcome to GE's Executive Director of Global Marketing, Steve Liguori. Steve?
So none of it matters if you don't have any sales, if you don't do any deals. So what's been our role in this journey around customer value and this thing that Gary mentioned is differential value proposition? So here's an example of one of the areas we're drilling into that says, how can we get smarter about connecting our value prop with our customers' value prop? So I'm going to ask you, who hasn't asked this question? How do you listen to your customers? Okay, the world is full of VOC solutions and use this, use that, and we've tried them all. We've tried them all too. But when you start to get a different angle, the angle that we now think about is, hey, we know what's important to us, but do you really know what's important to your customers? Do you know how your customers value what you offer? Just stop and think about that for a second. And I would challenge that most of you do not understand the value of it. And then you also do not understand, do your customers make more money doing business with you than the next best alternative? I was joking before about the $10 million jet engine, but it's clearly no joke, okay? When we go in versus Pratt & Whitney, or we go in versus Rolls-Royce, I mean, those are tough conversations. And if you can't figure out how you're going to make money, more money for your customers, because that's the world B2B lives in. It's not about, hey, that's a great consumer product, I'm going to go buy it. It gets really, really difficult. And so we want to come back and we want to dig into it. So this whole idea of understanding customer value, what we've learned is about creating value from the inside. So you've all seen this, right? We talked about our products, you talk about your products. If we can sell more products that make more margin for us, we're going to make more money, right? Well, the whole idea around understanding your customer's value is, oh, by the way, where does your customer value, or sorry, your customer's profit come into that equation? Isn't that a whole different conversation? I got to tell you, it's really hard. I hope I'm speaking for most of us in here. It's really hard to get your organization to think about your customer's profit, okay? Not your profit, your customer's profit. But when you can get your customer to understand and believe you're really thinking in the B2B world about their profit, boy, does the name of the game change. And so what we've discovered with this company, Valkre, which is in the back and it has a breakout session you can see here tomorrow morning, is this thing called differential value proposition. It connects our value prop to our customers' financials. So here's the quick story on it, because I'm not going to go into it here. That's not the purpose of this thing. It gives you market-backed, specific customer feedback. It engages senior leadership at the customer. It tracks the commitments. In other words, if you say you're going to do something, your customer expects to do it, because it's kind of like open kimono. It's very transparent. Hey, we're going to go do this, and we're going to commit to it. And oh, by the way, I don't think we're the only customer around here, or sorry, the only company that's analytic and loves numbers and processes. It gives you a number, okay? So you can see the number 7% there. 7%, the definition of DVP is how much money can your customer make doing business with you compared to the alternatives, divided by the annual revenue they have with you. So a 7% DVP number would be a customer that does, let's say, $1 million of sales. They buy $1 million a year from GE, can actually track $70,000 of improved profitability per year, hence the 7% number. And this process walks you through from where you are today, where you think you are, to where your customer thinks they are. Really, really cool process. I encourage you to take a look at it. Now, one of the wonky things about GE is we like to make sure stuff works before we start rolling it out. So I don't know how many of you would have had the patience or the determination, but we've done like over 20 pilots with this. And we've done pilots in capital, we've done pilots in healthcare, we've done pilots in transportation, we've done pilots in energy. You can see there, 20 P&Ls, 5 continents, 40 applications in the first year across a whole spectrum of business. And you can see some of the areas where we've dug into, complex value propositions, actual deals and RFPs. Imagine the power of going into an RFP process and having kind of the secret sauce where you know exactly what the customer wants. Wouldn't that be a neat idea? Well, you can now, and I'll tell you what. So here's 2 examples of what we've done. We obviously did this. We did this with a big lighting customer. So the customer exec says to us, "Thank you, GE, for doing this. It's imperative for us to know the answer to these questions if we hope to achieve our growth objectives." So what are the questions? The process we've discovered takes you through a series of in-depth questions specifically about things that are important to the customer. If you look at that little bar over on the right, just to give you kind of a peek at how it works. So here's an example where a customer had a 4.5% DVP. You can get into the differentiation from the product offering, the differentiation from the logistics, marketing, channel strategy, customer, I'm not sure what that one is, and then the sales process. Oh, by the way, in a product-based company, what do you think the internal people tend to think the most value is derived from? Product. That's not meant to be a trick question. Product. Our folks love making cool products. And so when we do this, the first step, by the way, is you do your internal hypotheses. All your engineers and all the product people come and they say, well, of course, it's our product. Then you go to customer because we're like, well, yeah, I like your product, but oh, by the way, there's like 18 other things besides your product. Your service, your brand, your support, your training, your distribution expertise, et cetera, et cetera. And if you don't capture that, you're going to lose. So this is something that helped contribute. This was a long, stagnant, large customer that we were able to grow 20% in the first quarter of this year. Another example, because this is probably my favorite example, and you can probably figure out the industry from taking a look at the picture there. I don't know what our DVP is, says this executive, but I want to know what it is. This is exactly the way we should be thinking about working together. This was an executive VP at a major transportation company. And then the cool thing from the global account rep who said, I learned more about my customer in one DVP interview than in 9 years in this business. Okay, this is the person who's been calling on this multinational customer for 9 years. So pretty sophisticated stuff. And the answer to that, we got a multi-year, multi-$100 contract as a result of that by understanding what the customer wanted. So pretty cool stuff.